This window is closing faster than you think. Let's cut through the noise. This isn't just another crypto update. This is your wake-up call. Because while most people are still watching Bitcoin for signs of life, and while the masses are piling into memecoins, hoping for another weekend pump, something much bigger is quietly unfolding beneath their radar, and time is running out to get ahead of it. HBAR is no longer just a speculative asset sitting in the shadows. It's becoming the invisible backbone of real-world systems. From government-level data tracking to carbon credit tokenization, from CBDC pilots to global payment infrastructure. And here's the wild part. The institutions are already moving. The pilots are active. The integrations are happening. The partners are real. Google, IBM, Boeing, Dell, ServiceNow, and 30-plus others aren't sponsoring Hedera. They're governing it. This isn't about being early to the next pump. It's about recognizing the foundation of a trillion-dollar shift while it's still being laid. So ask yourself, if HBR was just noise, why are global banks, logistics giants, and entire nations quietly building on it? They're not waiting for headlines. They're not watching for green candles. They're locking in position now. And the question is, will you? Call to action. If this message gave you clarity, insight, or even just a gut check on what you've been ignoring, please give this video a massive thumbs up right now. Your support helps us keep pushing the truth forward. With no hype, no fluff, just signal. Drop a comment below and tell me what part of BAR's progress excites you most, or where you still have questions. I read every one. And please, share this video with someone who's still chasing charts instead of understanding real infrastructure. Finally, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, because the world is about to wake up to Hedera. And if you're watching this now, you deserve to be ahead of that moment, not behind it. Let's get into the full breakdown. The infrastructure nobody's watching yet. Let's start with the truth. The reason most people ignore HBAR is because they're trained to only recognize what's loud. They look for hype, hashtags, influencers, charts, the surface-level noise that screams, "This is pumping." But real systems, the kind that last decades, aren't built on hype. They're built quietly, methodically, and in places the average investor never bothers to look. That's what makes Hedera different. It's not trying to be the next Ethereum. It's not fighting to host the next NFT craze or meme coin frenzy. It's becoming the infrastructure those chains will eventually rely on when they outgrow their limitations. And while the average crypto investor is still trying to make sense of its price action, Hedera's actually being used. Used by who? Not just retail users. Not just developers on Telegram. We're talking governments testing public records and digital identity solutions. Multinational banks piloting stablecoin corridors for instant FX settlements. Logistics giants tracking supply chains with immutable ledgers. Telecoms embedding decentralized consensus into their global data flows. And that's not speculation. These aren't plans. These are live tests, partnerships, and production-ready platforms. HBAR is powering digital sustainability markets that track and tokenize carbon credits in real time. Decentralized identity layers that work with regulators. Tokenized asset protocols that can support stocks, real estate, and intellectual property. Healthcare and pharmaceutical pilots that ensure data integrity from patient to pharmacy. CBDC sandbox tests across multiple countries with bank-level oversight. But here's what sets Hedera apart. These aren't just dApps building on a public chain with vague enterprise aspirations. These are the enterprises themselves, running the network. Google, IBM, Boeing, Dell, Ubisoft, Standard Bank, Nomura, Shinhan Bank. They're not just partnered with Hedera, they govern the network directly through the Hedera Governing Council. This means they validate transactions, they vote on upgrades, they guide the roadmap, and they do so with real-world accountability and transparency. That's not just decentralized. That's decentralized with skin in the game. And here's what almost no one is realizing. The reason you're not hearing more about HBAR is because the people using it don't need to hype it. They're not selling you on it. They're building with it. And that's why this moment matters, because once those systems scale, once the use cases are visible, once governments and Fortune 100 start announcing powered by Hedera on a global stage, it'll already be too late to be early. The institutional quiet storm that's already here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Retail doesn't move markets, institutions do. And while retail waits for influencers to tweet and charts to break out, institutions are moving behind the scenes, silently, strategically, and with long-term conviction. And what's one of the few crypto protocols they're actually betting on? Hedera. Now, you won't see JP Morgan tweeting about it. You won't catch Google launching a meme coin on the side. And Dell isn't dropping a Hedera NFT collection. But they are joining the Hedera Governing Council. They're actively voting on network decisions. And they're testing and deploying real enterprise use cases quietly. Let's break it down. 1. The Governing Council isn't just impressive, it's unprecedented. Google, IBM, Standard Bank, Boeing, Nomura, Shinhan Bank, Dell, ServiceNow, Ubisoft, the list goes on. These aren't just collaborators or strategic partners. They're governing the network. They help decide how the protocol evolves, which upgrades go live, what direction the ecosystem should scale, and how to keep it compliant, secure, and future-proof. That's not your typical decentralized project. That's enterprise-grade governance with real stakes. Now ask yourself, why would Fortune 500 companies risk their brand and reputation on a blockchain they don't believe in? They wouldn't. But with Hedera, they're not only believing in it, they're actively building on it. 2. Real enterprise use cases, not just Web3 dreams. While most layer ones are still trying to convince developers to build on them, Hedera has actual enterprises shipping actual products, like Shinhan Bank testing stablecoin FX remittances using Hedera's consensus. ServiceNow building workflows secured on Hedera for enterprise clients. DLT Earth using Hedera for tokenized carbon credit marketplaces. Avery Dennison running its Atma.io platform on Hedera to track 20+ billion items across global supply chains. The UK National Health Service testing Hedera to secure and verify pharmaceutical delivery and authenticity. The United Arab Emirates using Hedera in pilot programs to track ESG initiatives and digitize public data. Most chains are still promising enterprise someday. Hedera is executing enterprise today. 3. Institutional footprint equals regulatory readiness. Let's not forget, the next phase of crypto will be dominated by regulation, not memes, not maxis. And Hedera is built for that moment. Why? Because it was designed from day one to meet the needs of regulators who require transparency and control, enterprises who need finality and scalability, governments who can't afford security breaches or 5-figure gas fees. With predictable fees, ABFT security, and 10,000 plus TPS, Hedera doesn't just meet the bar, it sets it. That's why central banks are now looking to it. That's why supply chains are choosing it. That's why major players are building with it quietly, before the floodgates open. So here's what this all means for you. If you're waiting for HBAR to moon before you take it seriously, you're missing the bigger picture. Because when the institutions finish building what they've already started, when the governments announce their pilots publicly, when Hedera becomes the quiet standard powering trillion-dollar sectors, it won't be early anymore. This is the institutional positioning phase, the same phase that always happens before the media catches on. And before prices reflect reality. Price isn't the signal. Silence is. Let's talk about what everyone's obsessed with, the price. Because let's face it, when most people look at HBAR, they see a coin that hasn't moved. They see sideways action, a sleepy chart, nothing explosive. So they scroll past it, dismiss it, assume it's dead weight. But that's exactly the trap. Because price isn't the leading indicator, it's the lagging one. By the time the price moves, it's already too late to be early. By the time it hits the headlines, the institutions have already secured their positions. And that's the game retail keeps losing, over and over. But here's what smart money sees. While everyone's watching price, the real value is being built and hidden in plain sight. Let's break it down. 1. Infrastructure doesn't make noise until it's finished. Ask yourself this: did anyone care about TCP/IP while the internet was being built? Was anyone tweeting about the foundations of cloud computing before AWS exploded? Was there hype around Ethereum in 2015 when it was barely functional? No, because the most important technologies don't start with price action. They start with infrastructure, and Hedera is pure infrastructure. It's not here to spike 50% and vanish. It's here to power systems that will outlast every hype cycle in crypto. When the systems go live, and they're already starting to, that's when price follows. That's when the candles come. But not before. 2. Volatility filters the weak hands. Silence filters the blind. HBAR isn't for everyone. It doesn't hand you dopamine hits. It doesn't go viral on crypto Twitter every other day. And that's exactly why it's valuable. Because the ones who stay through silence, the ones who understand what Hedera is really doing, they're the ones who will be positioned when the volume returns. Every cycle has winners. The question isn't what's moving today, it's what's building today that the world will need tomorrow. And if you're watching Hedera closely, you already know the answer. 3. Scarcity isn't just supply, it's attention. Everyone's focused on Bitcoin ETFs, meme coins, and short-term volatility. But meanwhile, HBAR is being ignored, which means it's underpriced. This isn't just a quiet moment. It's a scarcity of attention. And that's always where the biggest opportunities are. Because once the world starts realizing that Hedera is not a copycat chain, it's not another DeFi casino, it's the foundation for real-world systems with real-world users, the attention will follow. And when attention catches up to fundamentals, the price won't ask for permission. It'll move fast. The window is closing, but the blueprint has already been etched in stone. Let's stop sugarcoating it. Most people in crypto won't make it. Not because they're uninformed. We live in the information age. There's more data, more opinions, more noise than ever. And not because they lack talent. There are brilliant minds scrolling Twitter and watching charts day and night. No, the real reason is simpler and more brutal. They lack patience. They lack vision. They confuse motion with progress. And dopamine with conviction. Meanwhile, Hedera keeps doing what most crypto projects won't dare try. Building an institutional-grade backbone for the digital economy. And make no mistake, this isn't just another smart contract platform. This isn't a coin begging to trend or hoping for the next meme wave. Hedera is doing something deeper and far more difficult, replacing the infrastructure beneath global payments, reinventing how data and identity are verified across borders, powering tokenized carbon credit markets already used by Fortune 500s, becoming the trust layer for governments, corporations, and public systems. No speculation, no hopium, just consistent execution. And guess what? It's working. While the crypto world obsesses over the latest hype cycle, HBAR is running millions of real-world transactions per day. Enterprises are quietly building products, platforms, and regulatory pilots on its network. CBDC sandbox tests are progressing. ESG and climate markets are being tokenized. And a governing council of global giants is actively shaping the protocol's evolution. You might not see it in the price, not yet. But if you're paying attention, you can feel the momentum. Because this is the build phase before the breakout. The infra layer before the headline wave. The nobody cares season right before the everybody wants in moment. And if you're still here, if you're still learning, researching, holding, and refining your conviction in HBAR, you're not just early. You're in position. But being in position only matters if you understand what you're holding. And if you act accordingly. Because once the switch flips, once the integrations go public, the governments roll out pilots, the media catches up, there will be no rewind. HBAR won't wait. It's not here to ask for attention. It's here to command adoption, one country, one bank, one system at a time. Now let's make this movement louder. If this breakdown gave you clarity, if it helped you zoom out and see the full picture, give it a massive thumbs up right now. Your support fuels this channel's mission to bring you depth over hype, signal over noise, and conviction over confusion in a space where most people are still guessing. Leave a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. What are you most excited about in the Hedera ecosystem? Where do you see HBAR in the next 12 months? What's one thing the world still doesn't understand about it? And share this video, not for the algorithm, for awareness, because someone you know might be one insight away from realizing what's really being built and how early we still are. If you haven't subscribed already, now is the time. Hit that bell. Stay notified. Stay sharp. We're not just watching this space. We're documenting the rebuild of the global digital economy. And if you've made it this far, you're not just in crypto. You're in infrastructure. You're in legacy. And you're exactly where you need to be. So let's stay ready. Let's keep learning. Let's keep building. Because Hedera isn't finished. It's just getting started.